Hello, driver education. This is Miss Roth, and today I'm going to be talking about Chapter 11, Sharing the Road, specifically Chapter 11.1 and 11.2. It's not too bad. Here's the reality. We are all sharing the road as drivers, as pedestrians, as bicyclists, and we're all part of the wonderful Highway Transportation System, or HTS. We want to start out with pedestrians because of all these roadway users. Obviously, our pedestrians are the most vulnerable or the most helpless. We don't realize that in the United States, collisions injure an average of one pedestrian every 8 minutes and kill one pedestrian every 108 minutes. While we talk about pedestrians, I want you to put yourself in those shoes. Many of you walk to school and you walk everywhere around Oak Park and River Forest. So you are a pedestrian a lot of your life. And then the next reality comes out that the minute you exit your car, get off your bike, you become a pedestrian. Children and seniors are at the greatest risk. Children are obviously less visible, they're smaller, they often lack judgment to know when it's safe. Where seniors may not hear or see well, they may walk slowly. But a lot of times that pedestrians are careless. They take chances. Think about yourself when you're running to lunch or running somewhere during a short amount of time. You will jaywalk. You won't pay attention to the rules and the signals. How often I see down on Lake Street people just crossing the street to go grab their Starbucks because that was the only place they could park their car. So they ran across the street. They don't look. And that's why nearly half of these pedestrians are going to involve a driver or with pedestrians. Okay. We need to protect them. We are obviously, when we're in our vehicle, we have a nice steel cage over us where pedestrians just cross anywhere. We need to really focus in on our IPDE process, predict where they may cross. I talk a lot about Lake Street as being a busy place, and people are crossing. And yes, there's pedestrian walkways, but you as a driver need to pay attention. You need to identify where there are busy business areas, where you have different things happening, and pedestrians are everywhere. Pedestrians have the right of way when they're crossing in a crosswalk. Okay. If they're jaywalking, you still can't just be like, oh, well, they should have waited. They didn't look, blah, 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 blah. Let's be real, people. Pedestrians always have that right of way, and we need to protect them. And I'm going to keep emphasizing that. Some crosswalks are controlled by signals. Some do not. Some are timed well. We know from previous chapters to look for a stale green light. You may be looking to see that pedestrian crosswalk signal starting to flash, starting to say, it's going to be yellow soon. Drivers must yield until the crosswalk is clear, even if your light is green. Okay? At intersections, many pedestrians are struck just as they step into the street because of inattention of their surroundings. Okay. We talk about bad weather. And again, I want you to put yourself in that pedestrian shoe right now. The weather's bad. You guys are on your phone. You're not paying attention. Your head is down. Yes, there is a lot of responsibility on pedestrians, but again, you are in a steel cage of your vehicle. You're going to hurt them. And collisions with pedestrians a lot of times happen when people are turning left. They had that protected green light or protected left turn, and then now they're waiting for their gap in traffic, and they see the light turn yellow and red, and they want to proceed with their left turn, and they don't see that there's a pedestrian still in the middle of the road. You need to search carefully before turning right on red. Make sure you always yield to pedestrians as well. And on that note, remember the real first step for making a right turn on red is to stop. And then you have that creep up, stop fully again. Make sure you look for the pedestrians. Make sure you're looking for everybody. And remember that safety stop. Don't get in that habit of creeping into traffic. Okay. Alleys and driveways, in the Illinois rules of the road, they will say to beep before getting to that crosswalk where pedestrians might be. But don't do that in Oak Park, because in Oak Park, they actually frown upon that beepage. But that's why when we're coming out of an alley, when we're coming out of a driveway, you need to make two stops. You need to make that stop before the sidewalk, and then you stop again before you enter traffic. Okay, look both ways, look around you. And again, make those two complete stops before and exiting those alleys and driveways. And then I've already said business districts, Lake Street, downtown Oak Park, be aware. They're very distracted. They're looking around at whatever. Pedestrians just want to get where they need to go. Okay. Coming back, we have residential areas. So like around our school, possibly around your house, there's a definite residential area. Reduce your speed. Use a lane position with the best visibility, okay, towards the middle, hugging that middle. Crosswalks, not necessarily marked. I'm going to say joggers, walkers, they're obviously safer on the sidewalks and the jogging paths, but you're going to see them. In fact, you see them all over our town in big mobs taking up the whole street. Okay, be ready to slow down. Be ready to steer around them. Watch for those children playing on the road. Okay, should kids be playing out in the street? No, but we always have to think about, I always think about the kid with the ball, and we're going to talk about this in a minute as well. But the kid with the ball, not everybody is going to be a basketball star or a throwing star. And that ball is going to go into the street. And where's that kid going to go? They're going to go right out into that street to go get their ball. You, as a driver, need to be aware of the situation happening around us. Okay. We also have to worry about reduced visibility. So at night, a lot of our collisions occur with our pedestrians. If the road is poorly lit, the pedestrian's wearing dark clothes, you can't see them. And again, we've got that rain, snow, sleet, Chicago weather. And I know I've got my head down. I know I'm not necessarily paying attention to more that's right in front of my face that I can see. So watch for those pedestrians and be more due diligent, especially when the weather is bad. Pedestrians have a responsibility just like everybody else on the HTS, that highway transportation system. Expect that drivers may not see you. Okay, you need to make yourself visible. If there's a sidewalk, walk on the sidewalk. If there aren't any sidewalks, walk so you're facing traffic. What you're going to learn throughout this chapter, most people or most other people that we're going to be sharing the road with, they're going to go with traffic. Pedestrians are the only ones that are going to drive or walk or run against traffic. So they're going to walk or run facing traffic. Watch for that oncoming traffic every time you cross the street. Don't walk into traffic lanes from between parked cars, because again, you become a pedestrian as soon as you exit your vehicle. Okay, We're going to talk 11.2, which is your bicycles and mopeds. Realize there is a difference between a bicycle and a moped, and a lot of you don't quite realize what a moped is. It is a small two-wheeled vehicle that can be driven with either a motor or pedals. So motorized pedal bike. Okay. They have a max speed of 20 to 35 miles an hour. They are not allowed on high-speed roadways. I've been seeing more and more of these around town, especially as gas prices have gone up. But they're quite nice where you can, like I said, this actually right here, the picture over here is a scooter. It is not a moped because a moped would have pedals. You may encounter bicycles, mopeds, almost anywhere you drive. Small size makes them hard to see, especially at intersections. And just like that last section, I want you to put you in the place of a bicyclist. A lot of you probably bike, okay? I generally will ask, who has been hit while riding their bike. And I usually have one or two students that will say, yes, I've been hit by a bicycle, by a car when I was riding my bike. Their size makes it difficult to judge their speed and difference and distance. They appear to be moving much slower than they are. Some people are super fast on those bikes. Use IPDE again to search for the bicycles and the mopeds. Predict that they may leave the sidewalk, cross the road in front of you, not follow traffic rules or right of way. A lot of times I do not see bicyclists stopping at stop signs. They're supposed to, but they do not. Okay, mopeds maybe, but not necessarily. And then as a driver, your responsibility is to protect them. Because again, going back to our pedestrians, they don't have that steel cage protecting them. Give those bicycle and moped riders extra space whenever you can. Don't beep at them. Don't startle them. Okay, I hear a horn and I start looking around. I'm on my bike and now I'm running into something. Allow extra time for them to pass through the intersections. Use your low beams at night if they're nearby, and never park or drive in a marked bicycle lane. I know now we have Madison Street that the bike lane is on the inside and then they park on the middle, and I don't even know what's happening. So just be aware of where bikes can come out and where there are designated bike lanes. Don't pass a bike if oncoming traffic is near. Yield to that traffic. And then remember, when it's safe to pass, leave at least 1/2 of a lane between your vehicle and the bike. Don't pass at an intersection, okay? And that's a regular rule of lane changing. We don't make lane changes at intersections. We also don't pass at intersections or just before. After you're passing, check that rear zone before returning to your lane. So same rules apply as every other lane change. Don't make a quick right turn in front of a bike or a moped. Rider might not have enough time or space to avoid you. If you don't have the space to pass and safely turn, slow down and let the bicyclist go through that intersection. I find I do that often. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to watch for that bicyclist. I'm going to move myself over after they've passed. And then they also have that same left turn issue with collisions where people are not paying attention once that light turns yellow and red on that unprotected left turn. Because of the sensors of protected and unprotected left turns, you may have a bicyclist or a pedestrian crossing when there's that protected left turn arrow and that green light in their direction. So be aware of that as well. Backing out, check for everybody. That's simple thought process. Okay, this is why we have cameras a lot, because you don't want to back into someone. Okay, and then exiting a parked car, remember we talk about the Dutch reach, where you take your right hand over yourself to open your door, and that's just a better way for you to check over your left shoulder or your blind spot before flinging your door into traffic. Okay. Um, yeah, we're not slingers, people. We're not slingers. Okay. And then finally, in this section, we talk about the responsibilities of the cyclist. So, a bicycle or a moped, you have to obey all traffic laws. Okay, I said already, stop at the stop signs, stop for traffic lights, look for lane markings. You ride in the same direction as other motorized vehicles, even if you're on a bicycle. To reduce your risk of a collision, always ride in a predictably straight line and in the same direction as other traffic. You ride with traffic. Choose the lane positions that make you clearly visible. Use hand signals to indicate turns and stops so you can go back and you can check the hand signals. Give them a heads up. When riding with others, ride in single file. Wear a helmet, light colored clothing, reflective tape. And this one's hard for you. Don't wear your headphones. Don't be texting and riding a bike. Okay. You need to be an active participant in this highway transportation system as a pedestrian, as a cyclist, as a moped rider. Thank you. We're going to go on in the next presentation to the rest of chapter 11.